So this is some of the content we're currently producing. Radio Oasis is the first Spanish language program. This is on the radio station. It's also streamed, of course. First Spanish language public affairs show in Western North Carolina. And that's been going on for, gosh, almost for almost 5 years, the whole time the station's been on the air. Veterans Voices for Peace is a group of citizen journalists, veterans who are focused on the Iraq War and issues of war and peace. Listen to Women is local women talking about issues important to women in our local community. OpenNet is something we just added. It's actually produced out of Raleigh, and it is a weekly live call-in show where members of our state legislature are on the hot seat, and listeners or viewers can call in from around the state. This program has been around for 20 years. It's not been in the Asheville market or the mountain region in 5 years. It's just not had a presence, and so we have just put this on our radio station, and they're delighted to finally get back to Western North Carolina. And I got one more slide. Oop, keep pressing. So the revenue streams, really the bulk of the revenue comes from our ISP. Jake mentioned we got approximately currently a $750,000 annual budget. About half of that comes from our ISP. We do public radio style underwriting, which is very, very small sliver of our funding right now. We also do 2 annual fund drives, which is only raising about $35,000 a year. We are still getting by on grants because we're putting every available dollar into building out our wireless network. We've got to get that critical mass, and that's why we're very excited about the broadband stimulus funding, which I'm going to say a word about. And also Maine 2.0 is we're going to rebuild the portal and put some social networking tools and functionality there. And we got a concept to help link our local businesses and nonprofits across this large region. This is a pretty sizable region, and we all share the same fate of being far away from Raleigh, where a lot of decisions affecting our lives occur. It's also a tough region to get around in because of the rugged terrain. And so we see a lot of potential for this social networking portal. We're ready for the capstone piece, and we have budgeted this out over a 24-month period, around $250,000. Full-time editor over 2 years, rebuild of the community network portal with the social networking functionality, community journalism training tools and training, that should be training and tools, and stipends for our community journalists. And we have a wealth of unemployed, underemployed, semi-retired professional journalists in our region, and so we just need some staffing to really get that going. I'm the only full-time journalist currently, and I'm totally focused on fundraising and policy work at this time. With the writing I do is basically about media policy. And so I recently published a local network cookbook because of this incredible windfall opportunity for community media in this country. The $7.2 billion in broadband stimulus money is on the table, and the statute, the way it's written, gives first priority to community-based networks, nonprofits, and local government networks. I mean, it's so radical that this broadband stimulus money is not going to go to the big carriers unless it's by default, unless community groups don't step up and apply for this funding. So to help community radio stations, public access TV stations realize that they can become ISPs, they're already using technology, they already have folks in their community who know this technology. We published this cookbook to help them get started. And my vision is for Amy Goodman's Democracy Now! Network, informal network of 750 stations, to start to build a national grassroots network that's connected to the need to do good journalism, both at the local level and at the national level. The other major watershed event in this whole world is the The white spaces vote that we won at the FCC back in November, this is historic. 5-0 vote that frees up vacant TV spectrum that is far, far superior to the little bit of spectrum that we currently have to do wireless in. This vacant TV spectrum will enable us to become a mobile broadband provider within the next, well, as soon as the technology gets to the market. We will be a mobile broadband provider capable of high-definition video from these mobile devices. And any community-based group can use this unlicensed use of these vacant TV channels. So I'll stop there. That's what we're doing, and look forward to questions.
Thanks. That's great. I mean, definitely write down some questions for Wally, because there was a ton of stuff that he just threw into that. I think, I mean, it's sort of amazing because you're addressing this at the infrastructure level, at the application and service level, and at the content level all at once, which usually is not how we're approaching these things. Many of us, I think, end up focusing and sort of taking for granted some of those other levels and just worry about the content. And a question for you, just as we move on to David, is, I mean, it sounds like a lot of what you're doing is saying that the sustainability of a small business around being an ISP can cross-subsidize journalism. And I'd be interested to hear first if there's been a sense in your the communities you're serving that other news and journalistic efforts were really not serving that community well, and therefore that's a gap not just in the access around internet, but in the actual news component or journalism component. And is that really is all of this the sort of cross subsidy of the business of running the ISP driving towards the goal of journalism, or these are co-equal things? You're really saying access and news are the two things.
Yeah, well, let me answer the last one. Yeah, we're saying that access is we're giving equal weight. I mean, again, my background is journalism. The capstone, the real purpose of all this is to give people access, to create those conduits for the grassroots voices to be heard, but also to be able to aggregate that audience. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of, we see nonprofits in our community like Crafts and Sustainable Agriculture trying to put social networking on their websites, but they're not going to get the critical mass necessary. But we've got the potential to provide that critical mass, the backbone infrastructure for these other groups to be successful. So that's one piece of it. Our region is just like any other region. We have seen a disappearance of local content. When I first moved to that area to become director of the news office at the University of North Carolina at Asheville, we call a major press conference. There'd be 3 or 4 radio journalists, 2 or 3 TV reporters, 2 or 3 print journalists. Most of those folks are gone. There's no real local radio news to speak of other than what we're doing. And all this, a lot of those folks still live there. And so I think I answered your question.
Yes, you did. Thanks.